Not you, dogs. I didn't say you come over it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back here live on to Speed Zone TV live here today, and for Palmetto Racing League as we are getting down and dirty here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it should be a doozy here, folks, as this is the new configuration. So the Super Speedway package is in effect. We're gonna see how that favors and shakes these drivers up here on the track. Hello, everyone. Welcome back here to Speed Zone TV. A little quick apologies there. Unfortunately, we had a little couple fur balls unfortunately come up and bother me here. So thankfully they have been reset and we're getting reset ourselves onto the track. So let's take a look at our starting lineup here on the grid as we start them on the pole. It'll be the number 45 there, Brett Thompson on his outside. That number 33 will be Brandon Meyer. Row number 2 is going to be Stephen Gall. And the number 25, the outside. And the number 13 is Dustin Spates. Row number 3 is going to be Aaron Vogt. And the number 2, the outside. And the 11 is Ricky DeRozier. Row number 4 is Andrew Ziegler. And the number 12, the outside. That 001, Doyle Boyd. Rotor 5 is Joshua Fix, and the 83 with the 99. That is going to be young little lad Riley Pothole. Row number 6 is the 95 of Matthew Corley. Outside is the Dead Man, and the Tom and Jerry Machine, the 14 Christian Driver. And row 7, it is the 05 Fox and Magic Racing Machine of Chantel the Throttle Bottle. And finally rounding out the Nap Auto Parts, number 9, Austin Siegler. That will round out our field. I do apologize for not catching everybody's paint schemes and stuff on there. I think you can kind of tell though. Stephen Gall's got that 25 Interstate Batteries machine ready to roll out on the track. I have no idea what the heck Brent Thompson has come up with this time. He's gone from having a snowman, he's had a Star Wars machine. Now he's all of a sudden just completely put me in a bit of a bind as we're about to bring it down to the dark side of the track. It is nighttime lights, nighttime racing for BB Racing's Workman Outdoors, Palmetto Racing League Truck Series. Here now, green is out here in Atlanta. Down the back straightaway here will lead him down through the first sector and through the first set of laps. Time is of the essence here. This is the big show, and this is where the big run comes from all sets and stones. Every driver here is going to be really taking these things to their limit and taking these things to their full extent. A lot of opportunities to take good control of this race and honestly get yourself into a nice victory lane choice. Rolling down off of turn number 3, going down for turn number 4 right at the moment here. Mayer is going to take the race lead away there as Spartus is right in the mix there. A little bit of trouble down there for the 83 of Joshua Fix as he slams up into the wall protection. Up on the front straightaway, does seem to recover nicely as Matthew Courtley is now laying a weight behind him here. Back into the front zone though. Thompson moving back just a few spots around Spates. Gall keeping himself in the position and in the zone as well. Vote much the same. DeRozier, Boyd, and of course the Ziegler boys just kind of laying in wait right now, not doing too much of the essence here. Austin Ziegler, Riley Pottle as well as Chantel the Throttle Pottle and the Dead Man there, and the Shriver there. Trying to each get themselves squared up and trying to keep themselves under control and on the attack zone right now. Again, you're gonna have to really watch for two options here. You either stay behind and lay low, or you go forward and make the charge and see how it goes. Will not lie to anybody. Usually it is a little harder for an announcer on their own, usually on this kind of circuit here, to kind of talk to you about how these plate tracks work. So I'll do my best to kind of give you just a good sense and a good little bit of speed up to date here. This is definitely going to be a long run here. Again, they're going to have only about 15 laps of fuel, 100 lap race, 50 lap stage caution. And barring anything else crazy happens from there, I hope I'm not giving the old broadcaster curses. The old caution flag has flown out on the track. Yellow is out on the circuit. We've got a little bit of a dilemma down there. Let's take it down to the Speed Zone TV Instant Replay, brought to you in part by our friends at Workman Outdoors and VB Racing. As we now take a look at the Speed Zone TV Instant Replay, folks, this is something I want you guys to keep a close eye on, is how close and compact and tight these races are going to be. These drivers are going to be constantly in the throttle and every which way to Sunday in this position. A little bit of a mistake there from the throttle. Chantal Paddle gets up a little high there on the 95. Came up high and then just clean slammed down there. And, well, even rolled right. Even the youngster Riley, the young lad, unfortunately taking a little bit of a shot down there at a little bit of a family member, unfortunately. But nevertheless, there, Bottle's going to take the EOL. She's calling for it, so she will go to the back. Good, respectful on her end for deciding to take that under consideration. Now she'll look to try to bring that charge back and everyone to bring it back to the fight here. I'm going to square themselves back up once more here. We're going to be on lap number 9 for the initial restart zone. Again, timing of the essence and timing of these drivers is going to be so critical and so in charge and in pace here. We're going to see a lot of drivers looking to do their best here to not only try to stay under control, but also stay in a good conducive situation. They're one of the biggest things I'm telling you guys is it's going to be very, very difficult for them to really get out of the throttle as much as it will be to stay in the throttle, considering how tight they'll be having to fight, charge, scratch, and claw every single one of these guys throughout this one. And that's something you really got to watch out for. And you got to keep the mental game plan focused highly on and very collectively out of trouble, if you will. Back on down off of turn number 4 this time on by. We're ready to reel and deal him back to the line. Green flag back out again here. Mayer will lead him down the charge. Bring in the speed, bring in the power. All jumping around here on the clock tower as I'm seeing you guys live with us here right now. Going to be about 1/10 of the way completed this next go around right now. And now Aaron Vogt going side by side there with Stephen Gall, the number 25. Both drivers trying to just stay out of control, out of trouble, and stay in control, not wanting to get out of control in this case. And you can see again this quad oval design here, configuration, a very different style of a plate track because again, it is literally only a mile and a half in length compared to your usual 2.5, 2.67 from Daytona Talladega. This is by far the shortest of plate tracks that these drivers have to go up against, face up, and deal with in a very hard controlled basis. And I guarantee you one thing is that these drivers are probably not used to not being able to spread out or kind of stay in one lane or such. Yeah, I think honestly that might be a bit of a big issue for many of them to really kind of figure what is going to be the best time and laps to really make that move, make that charge. If I'm really these drivers though right now, my biggest concern is just staying out of issues and staying focused only on the drive to survive. Because honestly, the rest could just be done easily if you just simply just don't do anything silly. But it's probably as well as we do here. When you're on a play track, somebody's going to get a little greedy and get a little silly down there. Folks leading it back down right now. Meyer and Sparts right now currently, or Space, excuse me. I don't know why I keep saying Sparts down there. Literally, it's even on the timesheet here, and it's literally right in front of me. It is Spates. I apologize to Mr. Dustin Spates. I guess maybe I'm just so used to a certain Dustin around here that I honestly kind of confuse them for space versus a little spark down there. So I apologize. Rolling them off fast in the back straightaway here to Rozier in the number 11 here. He's got a bit of a great speed and transition here with Thompson and Gall. Stephen Gall and Brett Thompson right now doing everything they can to keep Greg DeRozier there right in the lane field there as Aaron Vogt looks on as well. He's starting to get about that draft line now, pushing it closer up to the field as Mayer and Spates continue to hold down the charge, hold down the line. And again, we're going to talk about this a lot, but you're going to see a lot of drivers are going to try to avoid going to that outside lane until they absolutely have to. Now, because this is a shorter track, when they do carry that speed, it does indeed wear and tear out on the field here. And it can be a very hard bit of a drive here to really keep yourself under control and keep yourself out of problematic zones. But one thing I will say clearly as well is that when you wear and tear up that right side tire, the harder it becomes to hold that line on the outside. Again, it gets really loose, gets really stiff, really puts you in a bit of a dynamic puzzle here, in a bit of a pickle. And I guarantee a lot of these guys are just trying to find where they can pass and where they can kind of stay in the zone here. The number 9 there, Austin Ziegler. He's made his charge and made his run back up there. He's got Doyle Boyd in the 001 as well. Joshua Fix not far out of the mix either. As all drivers right now just continue to try to maintain balance, maintain pace. Big driving here. Going to be well executed when we see what they're going to have to do when they get to the pit road side here. Working through down the field there. You see the Tom and Jerry machine, number 14 there. The old dead man has made it very well known and clear he does not care for plate tracks. He does not like to have to race them, but he does not mind trying to go for the win. He says it's definitely a thrill to get the win on him, but he said flat out, and I quote, if I had to literally run like the plate tracks do, I'd rather do it back when it was the Earnhardt days, not this days. And you can see like what he means by it. He's definitely struggling to kind of keep up with that pace, keep up that drive. But really, that's what restrictor plates will do to you sometimes. Bottles right now, the 0-5, again, coming off a massive win streak as of late as well. She's been definitely kicking it around the track and definitely kicking up some speed where she can. Definitely, in my opinion, someone to watch out for. The longer they go and the longer they fill out in the speed zone department, gotta believe if anything, I think honestly she will probably be trying to push a lot of drivers' luck and try to push her own luck if she can. Kind of waiting around, seeing what she could do there. You see as well Riley Pottle, the 99. I mean, not bad actually for the fact that he is staying right up ahead there of the 95 of Courtly. You know, this little young lad, man, he is still learning it. He's still learning the track. He's still learning the tracks. He's still learning the game. He just does not know how far he can go and how far he will get going until he starts to really put everything together and continues to do what he does. I guarantee you, it will certainly be something here. Another round of pit stops going to be coming up here shortly. There you see your race leaders there. That's Mayer and the number 33, the number 13 right behind him of Spates. Dustin Spates right now just again taking it nice and controlled here. Not letting off, but not giving an inch. On right now through the field. Everybody just kind of keeping close proximity of one another. Each driver just doing exactly what they need to do. Lay down the speed, lay down the drive, stay one step into the spotlight. Don't let up. Don't give an inch. As now pit stops are going to be made here. Looks like it's going to be Mayer and Spates deciding to go in together. Rolling them all on the outside lane right now. Every driver just kind of figuring their own lane choice here. Again, they're going to be figuring pit stops up here very shortly. Looks like everybody this time is going to go into pit road. Looks like we're going to see Vogt, DeRozier, Shriver, and Ziegler. As it looks like Shriver deciding to go a little bit further in the distance. Is he trying to push his luck around here? Because that's still got to make that pit stop going into pit road here. They did not have a restriction until you get to that yellow line. The rule of thumb is you have to go at 45 miles per hour when you hit that yellow line off of turn 4. Apparently, no one else seemed to understand that except that 14. So he decided to push his luck, and he decided to push more than just a bit of race in there. He is now into pit road. He'll take that pit stop here, but again, your race leader is going to be the 45, or excuse me, the 45 of Thompson for now, but it is DeRozier, Spate, and Meyer coming up quick as the rest of the field currently doing what they can. Thompson now getting put back down. Huddle trying to get her way back into it. Andrew Ziegler right now is currently trying to get the 12 out of there. Looks like he might be having some mechanical problems down there. Not what you want to see there. Right now, 25 laps now completed, so we are 1/4 of the way done with this one, folks. And again, the longer it goes and the more time spent out on the track, the more trouble it's going to be for some to kind of nail down and figure out their own lane choices, their own drives, and really kind of pinpointing their opportunities. Reeling down around the track right now. Everyone just kind of jockeying for position again. Opportunities do not come too easy there. Andrew Ziegler right now 2 laps down as he gets kind of put back behind the binders there yet again. Spates and Mayer have now joined themselves into the position. Kind of honestly figure out is whether or not they're going to really kind of tandem draft and kind of tandem line themselves with this for a while. Are they going to try and find opportunities where they strike the most, or really are they just going to kind of try and see if they can catch the gamble and work their way through? Because you can see Stephen Gall right there in the mix there with Andrew Ziegler. He's getting a little bit of help there, kind of working up. That is the 3rd place position. The old dead man right now, Shriver, a bit farther back in the pack with DeRozier and Vogt, as well as Austin Ziegler in that 9 machine. As nobody has been out of the playing field or out of the zone for the time being. It's all been just trying and hoping for the best. here out of 100. Every driver just at this point just kind of finding their own tandem drafts. And again, this is something you're going to see a lot too. Is where a lot of guys once they get kind of trapped off that pit road exit without enough cars on the track, they don't get too many options or really any ways to get back into a draft line, get a draft pack going, get anything figured out. It really just kind of dictates your own pace, kind of dictates your own run here, and really kind of makes it that much harder as you see a three-car tandem, excuse me, the three-truck train. I think at that point it should be called a band at that point there, a three-truck train. If anyone wants that name, feel free. Just remember to pay me royalties when you're done. Dealing with the R14 right there. Can they get past the cheese, the smell of that cheese? Maybe too irresistible for some, or maybe it could just be a nasty little concoction to weld up. But the Tom and Jerry 14 right now trying to fight off with that number 11 of Greg DeRozier. As Aaron Vogt and the 9 as well of Austin Ziegler making their way around. Ziegler, though, kind of trapped up in a little bit of a spot. That App Auto Parts 9 machine doing what he can as he'll get right behind the 14 of Shriver. Runs his way through and manages to get himself into a nice position. Back in the pack right now, you can see the 05 of Pottle. Got Joshua fixing the A3 as well as the 12 of Andrew Ziegler right up ahead of her. And I don't think I got to kind of remind you guys like how much on a temperamental battle, if you're not, maybe some enemies that those two have become. Safe to say that Andrew does not seem to like having to race as hard as he does, but when he does, man, he'll fight quick and he'll fight hard. Bottle, his new slouch either. That rivalry, in my opinion, if they want to continue it, could be one heck of a position and a points get for each of these drivers to figure out and try to nail down the longer and tougher they go. Right now, just still trying to get to lap 50. Again, that will be the stage caution. They're doing everything they can right now to kind of keep a shot at getting that stage caution figured out here as now Mayer, Spates, and Gall will now enter in. They both have, all three have entered into pit road. Now they're squared up once more. Every driver right now just kind of just taking their time, pacing themselves around the track. Man, it just makes you wonder just how much pressure they must be feeling, how much adrenaline is coursing through their veins, what must be going through their minds, what must be going through their souls. Just knowing that that stage caution is coming and they're going to have to fight, scratch, and claw every little bit of this one. So right at the moment, Pottle going to be up into the front here as the rest of the field continues to roll their way out of pit road. There looks like it'll be Pottle, Fix, Mayer, Spates. in the running here. And again, time of the essence. Every driver right now just do what they can to find the right line, find the right time, and hope that it all will work out when they need it to here. But again, these opportunities do not come easy, and they will certainly catch you off guard, if not put you in a very tough position here if you're not careful. There are pit stops in there. Looks like Ziegler a little bit off the pace there. The number 12, not sure what's going on with him there. He seems to be well off the track. I know obviously he was kind of struggling there a bit too there for a little while, maybe just not finding himself in a good area there. Back now, a little bit of jockeying for a run up yet again. Seems like I keep going back to back with these guys again. They are just trying their best to do what they can to kind of stay one step ahead of the lead and one step ahead of position. But man, they are just absolutely cooking their tires and cooking their drive off. If Mayer and Spates, though, honestly, don't get too comfortable here or kind of get a little too comfortable themselves, I'm kind of curious to know who wants to face the other for that last lap run, that last lap pass there. Because, again, we know very highly that what plate tracks have a habit of doing. Steven Gall right now about 5 seconds behind there. Sorry, you saw the 14 as well. He's about 16 seconds behind again. They will rack up again with a stage caution. And caution back out on the track yet again here. Caution is out. Not sure what brought that on here. I want to take a quick look at the Speed Zone TV instant replay, and that's something usually you see just pop up out of nowhere. I'm not even sure what the heck happened there. It sounded like anybody wrecked or got himself in a bad position. Let's see if maybe there was just. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say maybe there was a little spin or a mishap like right underneath, and yeah. Now we're gonna see if we can find the culprit for the caution. It looks like we're having a little bit of troubles right now. We're currently getting things figured out ASAP here. Great player. See if we can figure out a culprit. Yeah, well, that'd be a good culprit. Spun right in front of the leaders there and spun right in front there out of traffic. And I guess that was enough for the iRacing gods to throw that caution out on the track. And that just tells you something too, like how loose this track is as they come around off those corners, especially off that pit or exit there. That has got to be an absolutely frustrating spot to be in there.
the field, going to be rack stacked and put back on the attack, nearing halfway point again. If they get to that flat 50, though, that will be the stage breaker. Worked their way right off of turn number 3 into 4, this time on by. Gonna give them a good shot and opportunity to see what they can bring to the table. It's a great flag flies back out for the VB Racing's Workman Outdoors Palmetto Racing Truck Series. Field working up the grains here and up the track. Everybody just trying to find their shot here. Trying to move back on around a little bit, moving and squabbling. Ah, that big one. A nasty wreck there right off of turn number 3, and we got a caution. Caution out of the track. Looks like the number 12 there of Andrew Ziegler was getting a little too much on that back bumper of the number 2 of Aaron Vogt. Kicked up, pushed around, and then the next thing you know, on around she goes. You see right there, just kind of came off there again. That blow down just a slice bit for the 2 because of 25. Again, just trying to avoid trouble. The next thing you know, everyone gets into trouble thanks to that 83 avoiding it. Well done there. Everybody else doing what they needed to do. And that was your Speed Zone TV instant replay. Brought to you by VB Racings and Workman Outdoors. Right around on the back straightaway here, we are going to be past the stage break. Looks like some pit stop entries and exits are going to derail some guys here. I'm getting word right now the iRacing officials are yelling at that 14 to come back to pit road. He'll need to hold on for a stop and go penalty. He went into pit road when he was not supposed to. He's arguing currently with the officials and not too thrilled about that. But nevertheless, they're going to roll him back down around now. Gall, Mayer, Bates, and Boyd are your top 4 drivers. They're the ones you're going to want to watch out for in this go. We're going to lead them right back down off turn number 4. Settle it back in yet again. Here we go. The Palmetto Racing League Truck Series back at it again. Around back on the sides here. Those that were involved in the nasty wreck there seem to have been cleaned up pretty quick and now fighting back for position. as we're loading him up and down through the lanes. Gall, your race leader here, as Spates is currently side by side with him, just barely battling hard for position. Mayor right in the mix. He wants to claim the top honor. He wants that top spot, obviously. He doesn't want to be in the back of the pack there. Spates maybe move it ahead to get around Gall there. Spades and Mayor right now keeping themselves up into the lane zone here. Look like they've swapped positions and swapped spots there. Very interesting strategy as Gall. You can see he's getting that draft line zoned up here. Aaron Vogt, much of the same. Power, speed, and drive just absolutely cooking it around the track and just nailing it down to the speeds here. Nobody has been safe from mischief. No one has been safe from mayhem. But yet at the same time, they keep somehow finding themselves back into it. A lot of drivers right now, honestly, a lap down or 2 laps down, looking to get that lap or time back there. I guarantee you they're looking for it here as we roll them right back off of turn number 4. I think it's time we start getting this up a little bit, put the speed up, and crank the volume up. It's time to crank it up on Speed Zone. race fans, nothing like a good little cranking it up around these parts of town, especially as the drivers continue to settle themselves down around the circuit and into their zone. Nobody right now absolutely giving an inch. Nobody wanting to give a shot in the dark. And really, right now, it's hard to really kind of dictate the pace of each of these drivers because really a lot of them right now are just kind of creeping around, kind of controlling their own destiny here. I know a lot of them obviously want to get the most power and speed behind them, but obviously they want to avoid wrecks more often than not. Only one instant repair they get in these series and in this league. So obviously they're really kind of biting their tongue and biting their toes here. And the longer it takes and the longer it goes, you can just see how much of that bind, how much of that quill they are just trying to get every little ounce of themselves and every little one off of another. Still got about 36 laps left to go this time around here right now at the race point. As they go into pit road, it will be Gall, DeRozier, and Vote into pit road. Mayer and Spates will stay out. A lot of opportunities being used up here. A lot of drivers obviously wanting to take full reign and control where they can, kind of see to a very narrowed mindset, narrowed drive, not wanting to let off on the other, not wanting to just give either driver an opening or anything of that nature. They just simply want to really make good on their promises, good on their drive, and figure out really where they can take aim at the race and take aim at themselves and make sure that they don't lose out on precious opportunities and moments here. Right now, at the moment here, you see the number 001 of Doyle Boyd. He is currently dealing with the number 25 there, Stephen Gall. And again, Gall right now in the third position. So right now he's looking to use that 001 as a bit of a drafter or a bit of a partner, if you will. Kind of give him a chance here and give him a shot in the dark. Yeah, making some movement here, making some choices. Fans, I mean, it's a good thing right now that here in Atlanta it's a little bit warmer, a little bit more cozier. Because again, around the world, around the states right now, it has just been absolutely freezing, contemptually, absolutely crazy to believe just how much it has been as of late around here in the circuit. We hope everyone is staying warm here because we know this Atlanta crowd right now definitely keeping a nice little pace, a nice little tone. And you can feel the heat just kind of reverberating back out on the circuit as every driver for themselves, nobody giving an inch. Dash cam here, we got kind of floating around there, the old drone cam. As quick as it seems, as quick as it may be, man, there's one thing we do know is that you can attach a stick to these things and lock them up on something, and there you go. That is what that drone cam is doing right now. Currently looking on ahead there with Mayer, who has got Spates right behind him here again. Spates obviously does not want to just lose this one, I would think. He honestly probably wants to try to get a run here and a bit of something going here, but pressure certainly is on here out on the track as other drivers now go back into pit road in and out. Man, I can't even begin to think for 1 second that these guys right now are probably not thinking about how much laps of fuel they're burning, how much laps of tires are cooking, how many times they're going all over the place. How many of them are literally just taking this in stride, and how many of them are literally just trying their best not to lose pace and control of their own of their own fates? Because that's the biggest thing right now. I kind of see is just how many of them are just doing what they can and they're doing as will. Momentum certainly is the key to survival. That is without a doubt. Snap laps now need to be completed. Stephen Gall seems to found himself a little bit of some help here, maybe a little bit of a home there, kind of being brought to him here, but not exactly a position I think he would want to find himself in, especially with DeRozier hot on his trail and Vogt as well, trying to get something going here. Pace the opportunity and controlling to dictate themselves and lay down the lanes and lay down the drive. So far, so good. There's your race leaders again, Mayer and Spates, staying in control. Not really giving themselves any time lots or time shots here, but they really are looking more towards what they need to do, and that's really just staying in control. But really, I kind of wonder, and I kind of find that's crazy to believe as well, how much of that pace and how much of the control these drivers are feeling, how much of them are just pushing their limits and pushing their luck with so little time left. There is now pit stops coming in again. They're going to have to do it at least one last time before this one's over with. So really, they are definitely pushing that 15 lap marker to its limit here. Again, this being number 25 laps to go. They'll be at about 10 to go for their final pit stop. And again, as long as they take all 15 laps of fuel that goes into that machine, they'll be just fine. Now I also must question now too is which is what do the drivers behind what will they be thinking? Will they try to kind of reel up a gap? Will they try to push further along, push their luck around the circuit, trying to get that elusive comeback shot, that chance of a lifetime here? Maybe some of them are looking for a little bit of help, if you will, in terms of just trying to make it or break it around the track and not lose contemptuous hit and speed. themselves yet again here. Again, we were talking a lot about that fuel lap counter, that fuel lap drive. Everybody right now just hoping, praying, and honestly, at this point, just kind of laying in wait, seeing what will become of this and what will become of the rest of this race. So much at stake and a lot of time and effort being put into the track. Really, this all kind of boils down to what I was talking about earlier, which is again, friends will become friends, enemies will become enemies. But then when you got friends and enemies mixed together, eventually somebody is going to want to break that off. And they will break it from a big pack and a big drive here. And it's not hard too to get that good lane, that good choice to drive if you know exactly what you're doing. The biggest thing is really who controls the gap and who controls their drive on this spot here. Right around the gap right now, 17 laps left to go. Is the momentum shifting or is the drivers starting to lose control and lose out on stuff here? No harm, no foul so far. And again, really, it's just been kind of, I mean, it's not a whole lot really I could say. It's just been kind of really just take one step at a time, take one step into control. Don't let your emotions get to you. Don't let yourself get too crazy or rowdy. Just kind of keep your pace, find that right strategy. Again, this race did not really set up for the pack racing, if you will. This was more set up to kind of spread the drivers out, kind of put themselves into less of a shot here. But what I think personally is right now is I think we're seeing this kind of happen more often than not. These drivers, they're pushing as much as they can, but again, because it's such a short track, it really hampers and dampers any shot they have of laying way into the speeds and into the drive here. So really, if they push too hard, they get themselves in that bad position. You saw what happened earlier with Vote. Got kind of taken for a bit of a knock there, and the next thing you know, he was sent into the shadow round by one big little hit there in the spot. And more effort here. Seeing the drivers again, they're trying to stay in that draft line, maybe trying to get one last push, one last shove, if you will. I mean, I think a lot of them honestly are probably in some ways kind of frightened or maybe a little bit nervous to actually take that shot in the dark, that big momentous occasion, that little position up on the track. Maybe they just don't want to put themselves in a bad place, in a bad spot. Staying one step ahead of it and staying clear of it maybe is the best kind of course of action, the course of drive that maybe they just want to make sure they don't put themselves into in this case. 12 laps left to go right now. Joshua Fix and the 14, both lap downs as they continue to hang on to the lane choice again. Vogt, DeRozier, and Thompson. Thompson a couple laps down actually, just kind of fighting for a position, kind of hanging on for dear life at this point as well. Looking to do whatever is possible, whatever they can. We're going to be rolling off this time by off of turn number 4 here with Mayor and Spates. We are getting ourselves to 10 laps to go at last. 10 laps to go. 10 shots, 10 opportunities. Hoping not to put themselves in a bad light or in a bad position here. To feel the tension and kind of palpitating of the energy kind of flowing through there as the pit stops as well being done. Mayor and Spates going in. I guarantee you that these three you see right now, they're going into pit road very, very shortly. Just waiting and wait, trying to make sure they get in as quick as possible and get out as quickly as possible. No problems out there for Mayor and Spates. They bring it back out on the track. Now looking to take full control and advantage of it. Right now, only 7 laps left to go. Vote, DeRozier, and Pottle now in the top 3 here. And again, you don't see Pottle on your screen. She's a little bit further back in the pack there, but Thompson is the one that is in that 3-truck pack, if you will. There's Pottle a little bit further out of the get-go there, but doesn't seem to really be bothering her too much in this case. Really just kind of taking into consideration control of what she's got. Marin Spates for the longest time had a great look and a great drive, but now they find themselves in a very problematic situation. They're going to go into pit road quickly here. A very big pit stop there from Aaron Vogt. Looked like he was almost about ready to throw himself to the wolves and end up in the flames. He manages to stay out of trouble. They did not penalize him for that pit stop entry, but that doesn't mean he can get away with the exit. No speeding in pit road, no speeding out. Coming down out of pit road right now here. It is going to be a tough road for them to follow. Pottle going to stay out as long as she can. Try to see if she can get a chance out here, but it looks like it'll be Marin Spates bringing it right in around. Every driver right now, again, going to have to go into pit road at least that last time. Those that have already been in now, they have found themselves right in the cozy zone and in position to take full control of this one. Right now with only 4 laps left to go. Here again, your race leaders, Mayer and Spates, continuing to hold down the pressure there. Vogt, DeRozier, and now Boyd. They are just pretty much at this point just kind of sitting ducks, just hoping for either a caution or hoping for a break. Not trying to give the old jinx or the dramatic pause there on the broadcast side. I just guarantee you that if they found it, they get a chance. Man, this could throw everything to the wire. But yet again, it seems as though those that played it simple and played it well, they are the ones right now doing what they need to do and doing everything they got to just to stay in control. 2 laps this time by here for Mayor and Space. Now comes the question, which one of these two is going to fight the other off, and who is going to make that move to try to take this one away? Will Mayor go up and try to stop Spates, or will Spates try to find a way to mudge him around or get him out of there a bit here? This could get interesting, folks. White flag this time on by here, presented by VB Racing's Workman Outdoors. Spates again in a very tough ordeal, has to find a lane and a choice to take. Does he try to go down low and center off and try to build that speed up? He's going to get cock blocked down the bottom down a little bit. As you can see, Mayer holding Spates off. He did not give him an inch. Spates realized it too. Is he going to try to settle for second, or will he go for the run on the outside? Off the final turn from 3 into 4. Not enough time for this one. It's going to Mayer. He's your winner here in Atlanta. Second's going to go to Spates as well. Good runoff on the outside there, Vogt trying to hold off that hard charge into Rozier. The 11 hard on the gas pedal, trying to find one last lane up from the corner. Off turn number 4, that stretch. It's going to be Vogt getting the 3rd spot. 4th going to go to DeRozier. 5th will go to Bottle. That will round out your top 5. Well, my, race fans. A long, long road and journey, to say the least. But yet, at the end of the day, it's going to be Mirror that takes full control of this one. A huge win for that number 33 machine down there, and a big congratulations from us here in the booth and down on the track as well. Can't say that he didn't earn it. He had to hold off everybody. He had to play the strategy right, and that will get him into victory lane. There's the results, race fans. Brandon Mayer going to take this one home. Second's going to go to Dustin Spates. Third's going to go to Aaron Vogt. 4th to Ricky DeRozier. 5th to Chantel Throttle Bottle. 6th to Stephen Gall. 7th to Joshua Fix. 8th to the dead man Christian Schreiber. 9th to Doyle Boyd. And 10th rounds it out, Matthew Courtley. That is your top 10, folks, tonight. Long, long road to journey to take. But nevertheless, we found it. We got there, and here we are now. Little no time to waste here, folks. We're going to go ahead and send it on home. Big thank you to everyone for tuning on in here today. Thank you so much for joining us on Speed Zone. If you liked the show, make sure to follow and subscribe. Check out our social links as well. We can't do without you guys. Until then, from all of us here at Speed Zone TV, we thank and appreciate every single one of you. We love you. We will see you when the green flag flies next time here on Speed Zone TV.